Today, Ducati announced not one but two new bikes, a baby Streetfighter V2 and an up-spec'd SP version of the existing V4. So in this video, we'll go over all of the details of each of the bikes, and I'll tell you absolutely everything you need to know about them. First up, the V2, which essentially takes the Panigale V2 and strips it back for that naked Street Fighter look. The same 955cc Super Quadro V-twin is on hand, making 153 horsepower at 10,750 RPM and 101 Nm of peak torque at 9,000. And that's all in a fairly slender package at 178 kilograms dry or 200 kg curb. But there are some key changes that differentiate the Street Fighter from the Panigale, and so here are the 9 big ones. There's a shorter final ratio, so 1545 versus 1543, and they say this guarantees greater torque at the wheel at road speeds, giving better engine responsiveness when reopening the throttle. For a more comfortable road bias position, they've fitted higher, wider bars. The saddle is wider too, and it's more padded, and the foot pegs have been moved down to create more room and open up the leg angle. Now the engine is still a stress member and it gets the same die-cast aluminium frame, but the single-sided swing arm has been lengthened by 16mm for a bit of extra stability to the handling. You get roughly the same 43mm Showa big piston separate function upside-down fork and the Sachs monoshock at the rear, but Ducati say they've been calibrated specifically for this bike to make it more comfortable on the road. That said, you can still adjust them to firm things up should you wish to take it to the track. The 5-spoke cast wheels remain, but tyres are updated with the new Pirelli Diablo Rosso 4s, which they say provides super fast response to the rider's needs, together with an extra cornering feel. The braking setup is pretty much the same as the Panigale V2, so there's the Brembo M4.32 monoblock radial calipers on 320mm discs, but new pads have been fitted which are a little less aggressive on the initial bite. Now the rider aids are pretty much the same, so cornering ABS and traction control, wheelie control, slide control, engine braking control and a quick shifter with lean data fed in by a 6-axis IMU, but the 3 riding modes of race, sport and street have been swapped out for sport, road and wet with their own dedicated settings. And of course you've got the naked Street Fighter look with that smiling daytime running light at the front, and it has to be said it's got a lot in common with the bigger V4 Street Fighter. In fact, at a distance I reckon it'd be pretty tough to tell them apart. Pricing starts at £14,999, so you'll save about 700 quid over the Panigale V2 or about 4 grand on the V4 version of the Street Fighter. And that's quite a lot of changes versus the Panigale, so it really does seem like a much more appropriate bike for road riding, and I for one very much look forward to taking one for a spin after they hit dealers in December. But if that all sounds a bit pedestrian and affordable for you, then fear not, because they launched the V4 SP at the same time. Clearly it has a lot in common with the Street Fighter V4S. It's got the same 208 horsepower Desmo Sedici Stradale engine, but here are 6 updates that elevate the SP to the top of the Street Fighter lineup. First up, the paint job, and this will look familiar if you remember the SP version of the Panigale. It's their winter testing scheme, which they say takes inspiration from the Ducati course motorcycles ridden in MotoGP and Superbike Championship pre-season tests. So you get matte black fairings and matte carbon on the rims and on the winglets, but to make things pop versus the black version of the Street Fighter, you get some bright red accents, Italian flag details, and a brushed aluminium finish on the tank. Personally, I think it looks pretty flipping good, but let me know what you think down in the comments below. Now you also get these super lightweight 5-spoke carbon wheels, which we saw previously on the Panigale SP and the Superleggera. Front and rear combined, these shave 1.4 kilograms off the forged aluminium wheels on the Street Fighter V4S. Inertia is reduced by 26% at the front and 46% at the rear, and so they say this makes the bike significantly more agile and lighter when changing direction. Suspension still comes in the form of an Öhlins fork and shock with electronic semi-active tech that varies damping in real time to account for the rider's style and road conditions. But braking does get a boost with the already premium Brembo M4.32 calipers making way for their super spec Stylemma Rs. Ducati claim that these guarantee uncommon braking power as well as stunning performance even during extended use on the track. And while the engine is pretty much unchanged, there's a new STM Evo Superbike dry clutch, which has a better anti-hop or slipper feature, allowing for more aggressive downshifts when you're really caning it on the track. To finish things off, you've got a few little touches like some adjustable CNC foot pegs, a carbon front mudguard, and a lithium-ion battery. Along with the wheels, those will contribute to a total weight saving of 3 kilograms, bringing curb weight down to 196. There are also a few track-specific accessories available, like a number plate delete kit and a carbon clutch cover. It's gotta be said, this one is pretty steep though, £28,495, which is $7,500 on top of the Streetfighter V4S. You've really got to want it, but on the other hand, it does look like a very special motorcycle to own. As always, I'd love to know what you think of it down in the comments below, and if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and I'll catch you in the next one.